Are we ready? All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. It is Tuesday, October 10th, 2:30. For College Council. So this is the highest level of shared governance at the college. And today Richie is out because he is at a conference, so you get to have me. Yay. Well, I will never ever be able to fill his shoes. I will be able to get a suit. All right, so we'll start with roll call. So past president of the Academic Senate, Mona. Right? Vice President of Instruction, Tilly.
Present.
Chair of Institutional Technology Council, Bobby. Our Information Officer, Caesar.
Here.
Supervisor Representative, Jay.
Here.
Our President of Chairs Cabinet, Sunat.
Present.
Our Dean of Institutional Effectiveness and Co-Chair of City Planning, Susan. I know she's running late from another meeting, so she should be here shortly. Our Administrative Representative is Steve Armstrong.
Present.
As Ricky would say, the reason we are all here. Our Student Representative, President of Associate Student Government, Diego.
Wow.
Present.
Our Vice President of Administrative Services, Dr. JP.
Present.
And then our President of Classified Senate,
Present.
Sean Ryan. And our President of the Academic Senate. Let me see if I can do it. Maria Jose Celedon Perez.
R.
Roll the R.
We have everybody that accounted for it. It's gonna be a good meeting.
Marciano. It would be problematic.
And I have to say last name right. One's gonna be under me. We are also joined today by first presentation. So we have Nydia Dominguez, who is our basic needs coordinator, and is going to do a brief presentation to all of us on basic needs here. Oh, I'm sorry, approval of the minutes. Thank you, Tilly. So in your packet is the minutes from our Tuesday, September 26th meeting. Hopefully you all have had a chance to read them. Janelle sent them out earlier today as well. So I'll give you all a minute to look at them, and then when you're ready, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I motion.
We have a motion by Dee Armstrong to approve the minutes. Do I have a second? And we have a second by Dean Newell. So is there any items for discussion on the agenda?
I do have one thing, and I just want to note on the minutes from the 26th of September, it says Mona's meeting. I have the president-elect Academic Senate, which is correct. But for some reason on today's, it went back to past president, so I just want to make sure we take a notice that it was correct on the previous.
I will make that correction. Thank you. So all in favor of adopting the minutes from last week? Say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or? Perfect. All right, now back to Nydia Dominguez, who is our basic needs coordinator. Turn it over to her.
Yeah.
If you click in it.
Can I just keep it there?
Yeah.
Great, well, thank you. My name is Nydia Dominguez. I'm the basic needs coordinator here at City. And today we're going to be going over our basic needs services on our campus and the services that we provide. as well as some of the data of all of the services that we provided this year, how many students we've served. And then the results of the survey that was conducted earlier this year for basic needs across California's community colleges, but we're going to talk about the results for our campus specifically. So to start, I'll go over the mission. So the mission of our center is to support students' academic journey by providing equity-minded services that address their current basic needs challenges from a strength-based approach. And so I have our services divided into 4 areas here. So the first one is food security, and under food security, we have the Night Stable Emergency Food Pantry for students to access any day we're open. We have under action days, which are the food distributions that we have on campus for students, staff, faculty, and community members. And then we also do support students in applying for CalFresh. We just had a really large CalFresh event where we saw more than 100 students, and they were all either applying for CalFresh or asking questions about their existing case. We also provide emergency grocery gift cards to students, depending on their need. And then for housing security, we have a program, Welcome Home City, and they support students securing housing or stabilizing their housing needs. For financial wellness, we support students to apply or to get school supplies if they can afford them. And then we also do have an emergency grant for students up to $500 that they can receive for emergencies. And then we have financial literacy workshops that we host once a month. And then under other, we have transportation. So we support students getting MTS passes or parking permits if they can't afford to buy one themselves. And then we also refer students to the Learning Resource Center if they need a Chromebook, part of the Chromebook loaner program. We also have nice threads and things, which is the clothing space and household item space that we have right across the pantry, where students can get things that they may need for their home or clothing. And then we also do support students with access to showers through the gym here on campus. And then just to confirm, all of the services that we do provide have eligibility for students. So students do need to be enrolled on campus. They don't need to be enrolled at City, but their campus record needs to be City. And for MTS passes specifically, they do need to be enrolled in at least 7 units. Okay, and then in your packets and online, you also received a digital copy of this. It kind of looks small here, but on your agenda, you have the copy of this flyer. And this one is the result of a survey that was conducted recently. I think it was around February, that was conducted through Real College. And it's a long survey, but it talks all about basic needs. And so our campus participated in this survey, as well as several other community colleges in California. But the survey, the results that you have here are for our campus specifically. So 1,354 students participated in this survey. Not all of them responded to every single question. There were 60 questions in the survey, but we were able to gather these specific points. So I won't touch on all of them, but I want to point out at least the first 3 because I think they're very important. So the first one, it says 68% of respondents experienced some form of housing insecurity in the past year. I did include definitions at the top for you to refer, whether like it's housing insecurity or food insecurity or being homeless, what the definitions are. We also had 52% of respondents experienced food insecurity, and then 28% of respondents experienced living conditions associated with homelessness. So either they were couch surfing, or they were staying, they were living in a shelter, or in a treatment center, or the street. And then the next infographic that I provided in the agenda as well. This goes over like all of the data for our services this past year. So our Basic Needs Center opened up in January of this year. So this kind of goes over all of the different students that we've been able to assist through our center. So again, I won't go over all of it, but I'll touch on a few points. So for instance, the first chart on the top left, it's the Night Stable Emergency Food Pantry usage. So you can see the pantry usage went up a lot this fall. So we've had a total of 8,727 visits to the pantry, But this semester alone, which is not over yet, we've had 5,181 visits to the pantry. So we're seeing a lot of students in semester at the pantry. And then for Hunger Action Days, I wanted to point out the blue section is spring 2023. And in the spring, we were having food distributions twice a month, every month. So we had a total of 8. In the summer, we transitioned to having them once a month instead. And then the second food delivery goes straight to the pantry instead. So that's why the difference in numbers. But we have seen 1,753 visits to Hunger Action Days as well since January. And then the whole bottom, like 4 points are all data for Welcome Home City, which, like I said, is the housing security program that we have on our campus. Okay, and then I just wanted to show you all what our basic needs assessment form is. So if students are trying to get any of the services through basic needs, this is the first thing that they have to do. So if you're working with a student or if you know a student that needs our services, the form that they would need to fill out. It's only about 20 questions, and it just goes over some of their information so that we can assess for eligibility on what they're eligible for through our center. And then just briefly, I wanted to show you all our hours. We're open Mondays through Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then Fridays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for our center. And then night spreads and things, and the food pantry is open 10 a.m. 4 p.m. Mondays through Thursday. This is our Hunger Action Day schedule. So it's the first Tuesday of each month. And this is the schedule of events that we've had this semester. So our next one is this Thursday.
Then you can ask a question, who does the financial literacy part? Is that?
Calpos. Calpos does all of the financial literacy workshops. Yes. Any other questions? Yeah.
What is a unique client?
So we can see one student multiple times, but we only count them once when we're counting unique students. So it just means like the student was only counted once. Yeah. Yeah. Really?
I have like 3 questions,
Yeah.
so if you're ready. My first question, when you were going over this,
Yeah.
on the assessment. I didn't know that.
The real college survey, yeah.
Yeah. These are pulled out. Are you planning to share the more other results too? I'm just asking that you.
I can, so I pulled these out from, we got a dashboard with all the responses for all 60 questions. And the real college did a report, it's linked at the bottom for all of the CCCs. So they cover like the percentages for everything together, put together. And I just copied like the information that they provided in the report for the whole, for all the community colleges. But I just pulled it for ours.
Perfect. And the reason I say that is we had a meeting this morning, we're talking about communicating data and information out. Marciana, this would be somewhere somehow, and I'm not saying to go do it today, but I'm just saying this is valuable.
Yeah.
Thank you for providing it. Yes, please.
Interject, that my office is also working on a report that
Oh, yeah.
shows our history, because this college, this survey, or the predecessor to Real College, which was the Hope Survey, has been administered 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And so we want to look at trends over time as well.
Do you know if the city has participated every year?
I think there may have been 1 year that the district opted out,
Okay,
but pretty close.
okay. Yeah, thank you.
But it goes to what we were talking about this morning, so I just wanted to bring that up. And then, a couple of things that I was also looking at. And just I wanted to just know that I've been talking to people on campus, a couple of things happen in the evening hours and what have you. I know you have some kind of, and I don't know the right terminology, care packets. If somebody needs a toothbrush, they
Yeah.
need certain items, towels or, hygiene kit or something like that. So after hours, when you're closed, and maybe it's 7 o'clock at night, everybody's here, is there a way that maybe like the building managers, if you're captains or whatever, could obtain some of those kits, and if we ever need them, you know what I mean, to be able to have those available? That came up on one of them recently, and then another was also somebody was like 7 o'clock at night. They didn't know how to get this person on the bus or get them a taxi or something like that, and I don't know if we even have that. So those are just a couple questions that came up. I brought it to the state health and safety meeting. They're like, that's more basic needs. So I just wanted to come and just ask about that after hours if there's
Yeah.
some type.
And I actually wanted to piggyback on that first, Lydia. I mean, I know you're doing a tremendous work because, I mean, the numbers show that like greatly, like how much more visits now this fall. So this is working and the work you're doing, I mean, I see it and thank you because this is helping a lot of students. That related to that and piggyback to what Tina said, actually, it came at the academic senate meeting yesterday. The concern that there is nothing for after hour students. So, you know, students come from work probably or something at night and then they're hungry and they're tired and there is nothing for them available. So it kind of defeats the purpose of all this greatness for night students, which is kind of part of our enrollment goals to increase night students, but we are not providing them with basic needs. So we are really concerned as faculty. I know at a district level, it's also the conversation to have, but I wanted to put it out there to have that conversation as a college, because, you know, we're gonna see, I think, an increment of night classes, and that means we need to figure out how we're gonna take care of the students and the faculty. That is also tied to safety because, you know, things happen. And I know in our school now, one thing is to put all the classes in the same floor and maybe not the first floor where it's easy access for other people, but it will be so they have protection, faculty and students. But now we need to figure out what to do, you know, with food and transportation and all the greatness that we're offering day students.
Yeah, and last spring, we did give out food vouchers for the food trucks for the night classes. So that was because the food truck's only here in the evening, so it's like 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. something like that. So we were giving out food vouchers. We don't have the food trucks this semester, so we can't do that.
Yeah, and again, that's what happened, you know, at least we had something, but now we're like left back with absolutely nothing.
Funding.
So I'm
And
not,
staffing.
I'm not sure if this is something that we need to advocate at the district level, or, you know, we need to come up with a plan as a college and figure out with other colleges, because I mean, this is a great need.
Yeah.
But we need to figure out what to do with night students.
I would say though that at least in the interim, that faculty get encouraged to refer students to fill out the form, and you all got one of these as well. We have our assessment form here, so if you encourage students to fill that out, they don't need to stop by physically to our center in order to get some of our services. So they can fill out the form virtually, and we would reach out to them via email or phone and assess for any like things that they may be eligible. So we do have virtual gift cards as well that we can support students with. And so I would just encourage you to encourage faculty to just let them know about our assessment form.
Diego,
Could faculty get supplies like the basic toiletries and toothbrushes that they can take to their classes and just.
So we have a tracking system, like that's how we're able to gather all this data. And we use it to report to the people that donate these things as well, like San Diego Food Bank provides all of our period supplies and our diapers. And so we need to be able to track that, like the students that are using it, in order for us to continue getting those. So I don't know how that would work. But we are, I know I've talked most about expanding like satellite pantries. We're trying to get a grant for that. But it's in the works.
And one more thing before I forget, because faculty did talk about this too, and I think some faculty might be advocating, but what about vending machines in all the buildings? So at least, because I know there are in some buildings, but not in all buildings, so at least they can get something, maybe they can get a voucher or something to get the food from the vending machine for free. Just put in a.
Maybe the evening buildings would have those.
Yeah.
And then that they're functioning, because There was one yesterday, I was just saying that, BT, I was over there and they took my money, I made sure they deal with it, I called them and everything, so I'm just still haven't seen them treat them. That's what students go through, right? They go there, they're anticipating, I really want that item, and then it doesn't. So,
Well, they're angry.
then they get angry, yes. Were you in the meeting with me?
So I think had a question.
Yes, so I know that you guys are operating sort of on a shoestring budget and you don't have a lot of counselors. I am wondering though, if there's any way that maybe we could leverage some student mentors to actually come to classrooms and talk about basic needs at the sort of beginning of every semester.
Yeah,
So I had a student just the other day, we're in week 7 and she's like, I had no idea this existed. And I was like, it's on my Canvas page, right? So I can provide all the information possible. And there are just so many things that we do. It's hard to remember to talk about each thing.
yeah,
But if that's something we could do, I think it might serve a dual purpose of like promoting the peer mentors and also promoting basic needs.
yeah.
So I can share, I don't want to steal Lydia's thunder, but to let you all know, Lydia and I actually just submitted for a grant last week.
Okay.
Last week or week before last, there is a donor who wants to give us money, or potentially give us money to hire peer mentors to do exactly what you're talking, where they get paid to work for the Basic Needs Center as ambassadors to Basic Needs. And so it's not a big grant, it was like $56,000, I think is what the donor was offering. But it's something that we applied for, so hopefully we're gonna hear soon about that, but that's what the donor intended. Originally, we had submitted because we wanted to create these mini satellite food pantries, but the donor came back and said, I really want to hire kind of basic needs ambassadors and so they get paid for doing the work, but then also the idea was about spreading the need or the word about basic needs.
Yeah.
So more to come soon, but do you want to talk a little bit about like how you're staffed? I think it'll be important for folks. I mean, because I think everybody recognizes that you are doing a tremendous amount of work with a really small staff.
Yeah.
So I just want them to, folks to
Yeah.
really know who you have.
Yeah, so, I'm the basic needs coordinator, and then we do have 2 mental health counselors who work with Welcome Home City. So Welcome Home City is the housing security program that we have, and they provide case management to students. And they have 2 project assistants and 2 interns that they're working with. And then I have about 4 project assistants, one of them is full-time, and a project assistant that works at the pantry and makes things right now. I'm in the process of hiring more because we need a lot of help at the pantry. And then we are hiring a CalFresh technician, so it's a student services technician, who's going to be expanding our CalFresh efforts as well.
Do you want to briefly talk about your CalFresh event you just had?
Yeah, we just had a CalFresh event. We saw over 100 students. It was really successful. And we had, so we had the county come out, so they're county workers, and they assisted students in applying for CalFresh, or if the student needed help with their case. So they like either stopped receiving benefits or they weren't receiving enough. The county worker was able to assist them with that. So.
Any other questions for Nydia?
Can I invite you to the Senate meeting? I'm gonna send you an email right now, but I think this would be really valuable
Yeah,
to share with the Senate.
That's
And
right.
I think Maria also when she comes, I think the important thing is seeing the
yes,
data and the
yes.
I think there's other data.
Yeah.
So I'll write you an email right now.
Yeah, and then, the data right now that I've shared, it's from January to the 6th of October. Okay, so obviously, we're not done with the semester, so those numbers will change by the end of the semester.
Thank
All
you.
right, well, thank you.
John, actually, yeah, I'd like to reach out to you too for the classified center. Yeah, and I've been working with David.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, thank you again Nydia, for being here. Really appreciate it. Very nice job.
Yeah.
So next on our agenda, we have the topic was Stop Farmer Update.
Thank you, Marciano. And my apologies up front. I just have a Word document. I didn't have time. I'm not about this today. But I actually just want to tell you, this is actually a good time to talk about Thought Farmer in particular. We're about to make a major milestone in just a matter of days. But for those who don't know, let's go back to the beginning. Thought Farmer, which is a strange sounding, actually is our intranet. That's the provider of our intranet. And back in 2019, we actually launched our on-premise, meaning our servers are on site here within the district, version of Thought Farmer intranet. This was accomplished primarily because of a great need. But also, we were able to pull it off because Susan Murray's group actually funded it, but also needed to use it to support accreditation and other matters. So just by way, just so everyone has a little bit of the same grounding, the development of an intranet was identified both in our strategic plan of 2017 to 20, also in our 2017 ACCJC institutional self-evaluation report. It was perceived to be one of the best means to accomplish the college's goals of improving communications and accessing information among classified professionals, faculty, administrators, and others to support students. We actually had first started to create basically a new internet back around 2016. It was a pretty long project. Just to let everyone know, we thought we had in the package an intranet built in. We thought the same company was going to provide an intranet. That didn't quite happen that way, but we did end up with what is now our current intranet in our web presence. So the need was still to create an intranet, one that actually is accessible by the internal community and not necessarily available to the outside unless we publish it in such a manner. The other idea is to have a lot of work that we do, whether it's work in progress, committee work and other things that actually are maybe not for publication yet, not completed yet, but to have things kind of like in a repository or a central space where you can always gain access to it. But heretofore, we used to always keep things on respective computers, coming and going with personnel. Sometimes they became a little wonky. So, and Sean, thank you for bringing that up. Just right, bulleted and also in bold. Among the takeaways we were looking for with our intranet from 2019 was to support accreditation, to deal with business management systems for things like policies, practices, guidelines, and all internal. To improve communications in terms of a place where we could place things, park things, even have them ready in advance for relevant communications. Document management also is a big part of it. And beyond that, make sure that we get a robust enough system that gives us site search capability. Where we look throughout that site and find things. Give us an analytics on how it's being used. And also basically support us in the overall knowledge management, professional development programs. Keep the slide down. So though that's warm and fuzzy and good and jolly, however, in 2019, we finally got launched. It took a big effort. I have to say we had to convince our colleagues in district IT that we're adding this one component. They, to their credit, really helped us to create a server in a fashion that at least got us to our first leg, which was to support the implementation. That was 2019, 2020. Then we had a few things happen, including a pandemic. But also what happened for us as an institution is that we kind of updated our equipment and our gear. We're very candid. We started moving toward cloud-based support. And it was a great idea to have it on-prem, which was always afforded a lifetime license. Fell out of favor because both home district was not going to support on-prem much longer. And Thought Farmer was also backing with me. Which leads us to the ability to have updated software and keep it moving. We need to actually get the cloud-based version of Thought Farmer. And that we eventually, I also eventually relented and realized, on-prem will not be here forever. And in particular, when we realized that it's actually our IT group who also would prefer to have the security of the cloud, which was insecure in the past, and now the most secure now, to be where we would put this kind of. So, sorry to give you so much of a narrative, but bottom line is that we had both the host entity pulling away from an on-prem and our own entity pulling. We had to go cloud. My thanks to Tilly and team for finding dollars so that we can get a 2-year subscription for the cloud-based service. So that takes us to really the summer, toward the end of the summer, 2023, in which Thought Farmer and their tech team and our tech teams at District IT have been working through project management design to bring this online. Happy to tell you, even though it's taken a while, happy to tell you that we're just about here to do it. By that meaning, leaving right now during this whole time, we're still running with the old on-prem version. We have not lost any utility except for we're running a little bit out of this. So we're adding new people. People are actually creating content. It's doing what it needs to do for now, but it'll be able to do some wonderful things just about it. That's what's going to happen. And then Sean, if you could slide down on oh, everybody got it. I'm sorry, slide down for we just slide up. Thank you, Sean. So this is really the last run on this project activity, in which we have already had the team meet. We've already made configuration changes. The teams are reviewing our new site, which is working like now a little bit in kind of like in standstill. It's not quite available to us. We've checked user authentication. We've checked to make sure that things are integrated well. We're still looking to see if the load comes through as we bring. The idea with this is that we will bring all of our current active users automatically enrolled. And all those folks who have left automatically taken out. So really using Active Directory in this case to be specific as your Active Directory to make it work. So the team needed to have an estimated timeline for completing testing. I'm trying to push it. It looks like we're talking about certainly the ballpark. They normally need an extra week, as you can see by this, but hoping that we may have a week to make sure everything's ready by next Monday. And by the 23rd would be our full party cutover date. What that means is that everything has already been tested. When we change the DNS, change over, that where we go at www.mysdcity.edu, we still keep that. That remains the same. What has changed is what's behind it. So then now it becomes pretty much the cloud. It's one of those things like, you know, it's a kill switch. What you do, you can't really go back too easily. We will still keep the old Thought Farmer on-prem on ice in case we need to get to something or ship something. What I'm trying to do with this current timeline, frankly, is to try to accelerate it. I had a meeting in the morning with the Thought Farmer tech team, and our team is just standing by. They're just ready just to, you know, click the switch over. So if we can improve upon the 16th and maybe have instead of waiting a whole week, we can get it a little bit shorter. We'll try to do. Considerations among them would be, and Susan, actually, this is probably you're the best person who could tell me, is that it's like treating it with a maintenance window when you make this change. Would it be, at some point in time when we're doing a cutover, that means we have probably it's going to take 4 hours, but it's better to kind of devote a whole day to realizing there's no activity being added or edited or adjusted.
Okay.
So my question would be, is it best for us to keep people alive up until Friday and then use Monday as a maintenance day? Or is it better for us to try to get it on Friday as a maintenance day, given how much people are using the current?
Looking to see any groups, committees that are, and councils that are using it actively have meetings in the latter half of this week, and it looks like the last Wednesday is playing. So if we did, yeah. If we cut over on Friday, that probably would find
Probably would be following.
Oh, okay.
And need some time to, like, you know, fence with one. But either way, I don't want to take up much more of your time. But I'll just say this, either way, we are that close.
Great.
I double checked with our district ID team. They said just let them know. At the same time, we are. Need to make sure that everything is working, that we don't compromise anything is working. Sean, could you go down just a little bit? There you just see some details about the cutoff. This is the handshake that has to go back and forth between our tech team and the team. We'll have a wrap-up meeting at the very end just to make sure that we go. I think the term they actually used was go, no go. Heard that before. One last point, if we can slide down to the last page. Following that, we actually will then be able to check against the new cloud about guidelines that we can now share with our community about how to use this resource. I just bulleted the main things that we would cover: vision, policies, and guidelines generally. Topics such as site provisioning and decommissioning are rather important for people to know that. So they are, in many ways, these are sites that people can create their own sites, self-creation. But we also have to have a mechanism to decommission when things need to be decommissioned. Branding, talk to my good friend Caesar to see if he has any concerns. And also we'll talk to you with content management, feedback. And
So Robbie, thank you for providing us, but practical Tilly has to just ask us, let's say. So, for example, I have the instructional cabinet group that I have really not placed in any special right now. So I say November 12th comes around, I just picked the day out of the sky. I should be good to be able to say to all the people in the instructional cabinet, as I heard you say, they're active employees, that I can send them a note and say, this is the shell, this is where we're gonna start working as instructional. I'm just trying to bring it to
Yes.
people to say, I hear what you're saying, but I can turn around because I've never used anything about farmer, and they can start going on this date and be ready to work. Is that correct?
well, as far as bringing people into thought, what we hope will happen, should happen, is that you don't have to contact me or someone who's could you put me into thought farmer in the first place.
Right.
But that is certainly should be automatic. Everyone who is active should be in there. That means, let's say if you have a site, let's say instructional cabinet, if you were the owner of the site and you wanted to target people, you're actually looking through thought farmer. Say, I want to add this person.
Okay, so like an email type thing where I just want to.
It might be easier than that,
Okay,
but you'll be able to select people who are already in the community.
so I do not have to be contacting Robbie or Susan Murray and saying, please help me get them in, right?
I would say do not have to ever, but you know,
Okay.
it is one of those things where the idea here is for it, use Active Directory tools.
And I'm chomping at the bit, I'm really eager because we have groups that are out there waiting, right? Like we've been in a holding pattern to jump into a space because we didn't want to have duplication.
And you know, people are really, really patient. See, one thing that they can do while chomping at the bit is that if you wanted to start developing your site, even with the on-prem, that's why we're being so very careful about the code.
Okay.
You can start that now, so the site could be ready. And then when the cutover comes, that site is now in the new cloud-based solution. And then if everything else is going as it should, you should be able to pick who you can enroll into your specific, have access to your site specifically.
So next question, and anybody else jump in, well, for Susan, the city planning, already in there. Student journey, Suna, Marciano and I are already in there. After that, the 23rd of October, the deadline cutoff, will it look any different for us? Will it look the same?
It will look for the pages you created. Just have to see almost because the new thought farmer, the cloud-based one actually comes with all the upgrades. One thing that was going to change as well is that we could not upgrade existing one. So you have security upgrades, some cosmetic upgrades. You may look at the menu, may look just slightly better, maybe a nicer response. Things like that.
Just wondering for like Des, she helps us maintain it, so we want to make sure she's aware of it as well, so. Is there another question for that?
No, we can chat about what seems to make sense as a as a cutover date, if access to the current site is gonna go down for a short time.
It's more important to share people with families are, this is sometimes.
Okay.
They can do Friday. I think we were in Canada, the West Coast.
Right.
So. If I could still force it, like at the end, try. Because our own team. Can't do it. So I'm thinking pretty much.
That's my hand over there.
Yeah, so this is kind of like a broad statement. I don't know if there's a question in here. There's been a really keen interest by the classified to build out a directory, and this would be staff to staff, not necessarily public facing. We're really excited about moving forward with this. Some things like I'm envisioning, I don't know if there would be an opportunity to have something like yearbook photo shoot day where we can have uniform photos for folks that are wishing for that. These are just some of the things that I'm really excited about with this rolling out.
Actually, that's a great comment. Be real brief. One other thing that we have not been exploring yet. If their thought farmer actually is kind of a social media. People can create their own presence, they can create other smaller groups. It kind of creates a sense of community. So what you're talking about, addressed by Senate, even if I don't want to be too campy here, but even if you want to have a mechanism of shouting out people's birthdays or something like that. There is that component that was actually part of what sold us. Not only was it good, but it also allowed us to tie in bringing social. So if everything's going well, it might be, there is a lot of self-creation.
I think a little more grounded, our thing is kind of being able to refer students to specific people in departments by knowing that in directory. But yeah, birthdays are great too.
But it is creative occasion.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robbie, for that update.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Robbie? All right.
Yes, about the internet. When's the internet gonna be expanded?
The existing internet or existing website,
The existing internet?
not the internet.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, okay. I know, there's two. So the campus internet, which is Caesar, kind of like host sway over that. Almost all of our websites are being upgraded. Now, whether we're not really expanding that internet, I got me there. But we are adding yet another presence, another web presence, which is the intranet, which is
May I?
private.
I think your question is
About the
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Oh,
Yes, yeah, that's right, yeah, over here, Wi-Fi.
thank you.
Yeah.
That expansion, and that's a great question. That expansion actually is happening. The campus-wide, the expansion, it should be done by this is the latest I've heard. The group that's out here that's taking care of it literally started, they started kind of like late September. Because of needs that we had, particularly we have those really well-built, super well-built type buildings, AT, EH, which signals don't come in and out of it, which is a little bit of a safety. Okay, it's a big one. They have been moved to being the priority. So right now, BT should have been completed by Monday. AH is currently being worked on. We'll quickly be moving to the others. Ultimately, the entire campus will be Wi-Fi enhanced. And if you, the user, or anyone else using it, it should feel like you have ubiquitous Wi-Fi. Like you can connect, whether you're using your phone or walking with your head down with the computer. Just kidding, but if you're doing that, as you're walking across campus, you should not lose connection. And you can stream stuff, which you can not do.
So that's great. And are you speaking of I'm just gonna be real basic, the Wi-Fi password that we all use, like city, da, 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 or is it the one that you have to go in and put in your number? Because I have experience, it took me, just gonna put it up, it took me 5 times to figure out my number, put in. Because I kept thinking it was my number, my username. And it wasn't, it's my, PeopleSoft number,
It's your
the
regular-
enterprise number, whatever you call that, right? So it took a little bit of time. Once I got it plugged in, I'm able to go different places and use it, but I'm no longer able to use that otherwise. That other password.
And actually, glad you said it that. Because right now, we're a little bit of a combination. If you're in BT or AH, you may not see old SD, CD wireless.
City wireless.
You will not see that, because once the new one's in place, that one's gone. And so also goes with it is people writing our password on bulletin boards and walls. But it is seriously gone. It's like older tech is out of the way. To get into it, you're going to, all you do is your same credentials used to get your email. And the question I got from Academic Senate was very similar, which was, well, do I have to do this all the time? And the question is, no, you really do it once per device. Just like once your system is aware of this, seeking this type of setup, it's going to always automatically connect to the shoot. Yes, it won't be using that very hard, heavily disguised code that no one can figure out. Instead, it's going to be using your own credentials to get you in. There's a guest provision, so we'll see also another opportunity for guests that they can get in. And the difference for the guest is they'll log in, but they only have like 4 hours. Some type of limit is placed. Then you'll see one others, which I think is for internal and testing.
So our students are,
Our students will see that main, it's called Campus Connect. They'll see that particular site. You'll go into it the same way that we do.
okay,
Because
so they're not gonna get locked out in 4 hours.
no,
Okay,
if you're an active student and you have your account, SDCCD account, that's what you use.
and I know I saw it in an email somewhere, but I did it from Peter, I believe, but I don't know if everybody on the campus has seen this explanation or information, because I think that's why you're asking, right, David? So if there's something we can do, I mean, something very simple, maybe even Caesar, like Caesar supplier, just with step 1, here's step 2, I don't know. Just putting it out there.
Actually, there's district IT's credit, they actually have an excellent site that is for Campus Connect. And just FYI, our connection eventually will extend beyond our campus. Things like library, public library, other places would be the same.
But sometimes if I can't get on the internet, I'm frustrated because I don't know how to find that information if I
Right,
get it.
right, but to your point, because they already have most of Peter's email actually forwarded, we can repackage it. Actually, it's necessary because it's one thing to tell people that space is on a certain location, but it's another thing altogether to tell folks that, you know, this is what Campus Connect is. Because that's much.
Can you help us get the word out here?
And one more question. So is Campus Connect already set up in the BT building now that it's done Monday?
It should be, I was told it will be there and it's up and running. We did a walkthrough. I actually walked through the BT building with Peter Maharaj and Rose, who overseeing that project. We did find some unique patients in the BT building that still have hard to get us in. And they were bringing more access points to take care of. So the reason why I said all that, if you should be in BT and all of a sudden you can't get a signal, people are hypersensitive to that, just let us know. And we'll send them right back out again.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you again. So our next agenda item, in your packet, you have the flyer for our enrollment and retention forum that's coming up on Friday, November 17th from 9 to noon. So we will start with a very, an overview from Simone about what to expect.
Yeah, great, thank you. So our forum is titled Money, 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 Making the Most of the Skip. We are going to focus on what city is doing and what we can do to increase our funding through the 30% of the equity and success portion of the SCIP. We're gonna start with an overview of our programs and services. We're gonna start with welcome and community building. We're gonna have a short SCIF presentation and questions. The majority of our time is actually going to be spent with participants moving around from station to station. And I'll get to those stations in a moment. And then we're gonna have a wrap-up evaluation. So what we have done is really identify the forum as addressing multiple areas. The first for attendees is partly educational, to let them know what city is doing for that 30% equity and success. And also to increase engagement and participation in these efforts. This is going to occur partly through the educational portion and partly because at the end, we're actually going to be asking attendees to provide ideas and suggestions and get them to sign on to efforts. They're going to be asked to identify one area and one thing that they will do. And we're actually going to get that to grading for them. We'll see how that works. The second sort of area that's addressing is for our student journey council to capture in one place all of the efforts we're doing for this part of the SCIF and for those programs and stations that are going to be presenting, for them to identify where they are and how they're contributing to this big picture funding, and to identify where they're going so that each program is aware of what they're working towards and what we need for the SCIF. The programs that will be coming and presenting these stations are Guided Pathways, Financial Aid, Basic Needs, CCAP, Promise Bundles, Promise Program and Bundles, Umoja, Puente, City Scholars, HUBU, Anapisi Grant, MESA Program, CalWorks, and EOPS Care Next Up. And what they will be doing is really providing us with an overview of the program and service. Their data from 2022 to 2023, so the number of students they served, how long each student was in the program, retention, completion, transfer, all of that information, right? Subject to availability. The 23-24 plan for this year, what events are planned, how are they promoting their events and the groups, putting their events and the groups, how many classes students are in the program, current services, etc. Obviously, based on what their program is. Their goals, what are their plans for growth to serve more students, and how does each group plan to market their programs and services, and what measures are they using to sort of assess and increase successful retention and completion. And then for them to identify things that attendees can do to assist, like what do they need faculty and classified professionals to do? How can they use help and outreach? How can faculty promote this in their classes? Those sorts of areas. So that's a basic overview of what we can do. I'm pretty excited. It's going to be actually very interactive, not a whole lot of talking at, but a whole lot of moving around and learning about what we're doing. Yeah. Any questions?
I love it. I think it was great. I was over here telling Marcelo, I can't wait to go to that. Oh, my God, that. Is it? I'm gonna go from station to station.
Yes, yes.
I love that it's part of the SCIF, or that portion, because I'll speak from probably in the instructional side, is we always think about enrollment, we try to think of, things that we're doing, but we never really see it on paper, like the retention piece of it, completion, etc. So great job, Suna. Thank you for providing us an update.
I'm super excited for it. I think it's going to be very useful, and it is on the Friday before Thanksgiving. It is a work day that Friday, and so we are really looking forward to having a lot of faculty and classified representation.
Nice.
All right.
And our ugly sweaters.
Yes.
The location of this special event.
MS 140.
Thank you.
So the next thing tied to retention forum, as we all saw, Promise and program and the bundles are going to be a part of it. But one of the things we wanted to do was, as Suna shared, we're already doing a lot of work, and so now it's really about some of the storytelling behind that and sharing that, so we have invited someone who needs no introduction whatsoever, because she's amazing. So Genevieve, our Dean of Enrollment Management. Now, I'm gonna share some quick information about the Promise bundles, and in your packet, you have what she's gonna talk about, so that you have the data.
Ooh,
Which is,
hey.
we're speaking Susan's language here. Data,
Damn.
all right.
Yes,
Take it away,
so,
then.
Marciano asked me to come just provide a brief update on where we are with the Promise bundles. So this is actually a little preview of what will be a portion of what will be presented about the Promise. At the board meeting, later on this month. So, this year we had our largest entry in year one cohort. We have 747 students currently in our year one cohort. Last year we had about 600. We actually had about 900 students in the year one cohort. There are some things that they needed to complete in order to make the cohort. And so we're sitting at about 747 at the moment. We scheduled and planned bundles to serve 630 students based off of last year's cohort, incoming cohort. And so you'll see we didn't even schedule enough bundles to serve the students that we got, which, you know, is a thing. So we did 18 Promise class bundles in this pilot, that were created based off of the students, the prior year Promise students, most popular majors, and also aligned with the college's most popular programs, majors and programs of general population of all of our students enrolled, right? So we're looking at undeclared with and without math, we had bundles for business, biology, social science, pre-engineering, and computer science and honors. And we also included, when we took this out during signing days, we also included the bundles for Puente Moja. So we used their learning communities to pilot as part of this. Those students, if students were interested in those programs, because it's an application that they would have to complete. We listed the classes that they would have to take as part of those bundles and that learning community, and then directed them to connect with the programs directly to apply for that program. So those are included here as well. So you'll see on the right-hand side, the little chart that shows the data. So you'll see of all the bundles, there's 21 here. The sum of the cap enrollment for all the bundles, so all the classes within that particular bundle, we're looking at 2,382. So that's 2,382 enrollments that we planned for within these bundles. The sum of the total enrollment, the actual enrollment for the bundles was 2,421. So we went over that. So we were at 102% enrollment within the bundle. So as the pilot, I think I was very concerned that we were gonna have some troubles perhaps filling some of the classes and filling some of the bundles because during this pilot, we didn't roll it out as a traditional learning community style where students had to pick a bundle and take the classes within the bundle. We allowed them to pick and choose, right? So if they at signing days, if they said, yeah, like all the classes in this honors bundle are everything that I want to take at the times I want to take them, I'm gonna enroll myself to this bundle. They were allowed to do that. But if they had already taken English 101 prior at high school during high school through CCAP, then all of these bundles have an English component. So if they said, oh, I already took English 101, but I really love the other classes in this bundle, they were able to enroll in the classes in the bundle and then enroll in another separate English class outside of that. So they weren't bound to only taking the classes in these bundles. But even still, we hit 102% of enrollment in the bundles. So as a pilot, I think it was pretty successful. I think it's shown us what we do if we try some different things and look at things in a different way. We're in the planning stages now.
really preliminary. I would say like, I haven't started the meetings yet to try and work on the bundles yet for next fall. But that will be coming, so I know that there's lots of interest from the chairs to talk about the bundles for next year. I know we would love to have more counseling input as well, so that is coming. Please be on the lookout for some emails and information from me on that. But yeah, just some preliminary updates. I think it's always a win when we can see that the efforts and the crazy things that we try actually pan out. And you know, shout out to some of the folks on this bundle who are over 100% of their enrollment. So Moja's on there, 180%. And I will say that these numbers are after census. So I pulled these, I waited until after census to pull, knowing that students would add and drop it. So.
Very
Great
nice.
job. Great work.
It's gonna be, you know, we tried really hard and we were up against the timeline and stuff, so we learned a lot of lessons that you mentioned. The other thing that I wanted to, you know, for me, this opportunity and working with faculty in the future of, this is really for me like getting to that level of a 2-year schedule. Because this is how you do that, you pick things, whether it be the guide pathways is part of this, but it was really about timing. And thank you and your team for the patience, because that's really, the classes were there. But then you went back and kind of cleaned up and said to faculty, can you move that class a little bit like this and that? It was a little painful. I'm not gonna say it wasn't so easy, but it sounds easy now, but it was a matter of, if you align this one and this one, then the student can get this many more classes. And I think that's what the data really shows. So I think I love the idea of working with chairs, having them involved. It was hard to even get to this point. I mean, it really was. So it's just a foundation to start with.
Yeah.
And there's just so many opportunities, I think. So thank you to everybody on this college, because everybody has contributed in one way or another to get here. So I just want to say that too.
Yeah, and I actually just want to echo that, like, this was a huge undertaking. It was a pilot. Because it was a pilot, there were hurdles and mistakes and stumbles, but that's what you expect. And to have this kind of success on the pilot is truly amazing. And I'm super excited to see how we can bring in more people. And I know this is your plan to bring in more people and really sort of build on the success. I think it's really amazing, and it's due to the work of you and your team. So thank you.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely a team effort, and yes, we learned a lot of lessons. We jumped a lot of hurdles. And we took our lumps, I will say. But I think some of this, and I can share some of the other kind of data points too. You know, some of this too was, you know, like we tried some things with some weird, like afternoon weird times, you know. And, you know, folks were really concerned that, you know, some of those wouldn't run because our students weren't used to it, and those classes filled. And so, I mean, I think it's, you know, we even had a class that I'll say, you know, like we forgot to cancel over a weekend, and
Yes, I did.
because it was the weekend before the semester started and it was low on enrollment, and we totally forgot to cancel it. It was that weird, one of those weird afternoon things. And by Monday morning, it was full with a wait list. And so, you know, so I think there's a lot of things that we learned. So I'm excited to be able to continue to build upon this success of the pilot and see where it goes. So.
And I think that's also important to note that one of the things we talked about that we had noticed with our students this time around is the number of brand new students coming to City who are used to having someone say, this is your schedule, right? And so I think that for the students who are trying to figure that out, I think this has demonstrated that there really is a group of students who want and need someone to kind of give them that guidance of try this, and if this doesn't work, you can still opt out of this and take this other class. But I think providing that structure has been really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it expands.
Good job.
So the last thing on the retention, we just wanted to remind folks. So we pulled together a student transition and retention group All-Star. I have all the All-Stars in student services that have come together and are planning some retention activities and events for the semester. And so 2 of them are listed on there. We have our Fall Fest, which is on Wednesday, October 18th from 4 to 9 in Short Square. And they are working with Levy, who has all the tutorial centers also open during that time. And so, and this is a partnership with Between Instruction and Student Services to work on retention, get our students ready for midterms, get our students ready to start thinking about finishing strong for the semester. And so that Fall Fest is happening. And then we have Winter Wonderland, which will happen on Thursday, December 7th, which is really our kind of getting students enrolled for spring semester. So that will be around the enrollment time, and we already are, there was an email that went out from Clarissa asking folks who are interested in helping to kind of flush out what Winter Wonderland is going to look like to participate. And I know Adan sent out something today, as a matter of fact, reminding folks that anyone that still wants to participate in Fall Fest, that they're still looking for folks to be involved in that. So our retention efforts are only ramping up, and we're excited to learn about what everybody else is doing as we move into this enrollment form. Any questions about retention? Right, then the last part of our agenda, we're gonna get through quickly and we're gonna end on time, because the next one is Avenida Las Puertas, Consejos, advice on faculty hiring, campus safety forum. The flyer is in your packet as well. That is today. It will happen at 4:45 in BT 301. We've got fantastic panel of faculty. So we have Isma Carrillo, we've got Dr. Leti Lopez, we've got Dr. Gabriela Mansfield, and Dr. Juan Carlos Reina. And it is going to be moderated by our very own Dr. Perez. So, we're really excited about this panel. This is one of the highlights of our Latinx Heritage Month celebration events, and really trying to make sure that we have some programming to encourage our part-time faculty who are interested in making the leap into full-time positions and getting advice from folks that have gone through the process of what that will look like. And anyone that comes is going to be able to ask questions, and our wonderful moderator will guide the panel through those discussions. So if you are able to attend today, we really encourage you to do that. And they have food. So a better thing way to end your day is to do that. The next thing is I will turn it over to Dr. Parker, who will share a little bit about our safety forum that's coming up.
Yes, thank you. Safety forum announcement went out yesterday. We used the October 24th College Council here in D 121A and B. It says cafeteria. If we need to expand, I'm going to do that, but this area should suffice. And we'll have a team of presenters to include mental health, campus police, Narcan training, the new blue envelope system, which is a partnership with the county sheriff's office. I believe we'll have updates on that. We'll also have facility and safety updates, followed by a Q&A session. I think we'll have a panel of eight presenters and with the Q&A session afterwards.
Any questions for Dr. Parker on the safety forum? Awesome. We're looking forward to that. And then next we have our virtual meeting with APCJC, the review team. Dr. Murray will share with us. And again, all of these are in your packet. So the flyer is there.
Yes. So, the general open forum for the entire campus it will be virtual. It is this Friday at noon. The link is has been sent out a couple of times by Caesar campus. It's in the president's newsletter, and we'll definitely get it out one more time. This is not something you need to prepare for, but it is an opportunity to engage with the ACCJC review team. I believe there are 9 members of the team. They come from other colleges in the ACCJC region. All right. And it's a chance to just sort of personalize their experience with the college, because they're not going to come onto campus until the end of February, and they may not all come because they, each of them has an assignment within the accreditation standards, and they're only going to focus on areas that they either have additional questions about or want to follow up on for a potential accommodation for excellence. So please attend, please share this information. It is open to faculty, classified, administrators, except for the executive level, sorry, and students. And we really would like to have a good turnout and represent City College well. And it's a chance to just share what is special about City to you, so that the team gets that context above and beyond all of the factual information and evidence that we put in the report. Then, speaking just to college council members, you should also have a Zoom invitation from me with another Zoom link for 11 a.m. on Friday for our meet and greet session, and that will be a smaller group. There will be a brief presentation from some folks talking about different aspects of the college, from our first baccalaureate degree to our social justice focus, to participatory governance and our You Belong Here theme. And again, the point is to not try to present more information or more facts to the team, but to really have a chance to talk about what that means. And if they were coming on campus to start this process, there would be kind of an informal reception. So this is going to be the virtual equivalent. So if you're part of College Council and you did not get that Outlook invite or that link, please reach out to me and I will make sure that you get it.
Any other questions, Dr. Murray? All right, so we have reached the end. Are any announcements?
I have a brief announcement. We have an activity coming up on October 20th. I'm pleased to be sharing a forum with our executive team and the classified at large, the classified body. We're going to be having a campus forum. It's geared towards classified, so we're reaching out to classified to come up with the questions, but it's open to the campus. This is going to be Friday, October 20th from 12:30 till 2, right next door.
Also, I have two announcements. Tomorrow, we're going to have the second edition. I guess cybersecurity awareness month, but it's our awareness program. That begins at 9:20, 9:30 for a reception, 10 o'clock the actual program. The actual program is in MS 162. That's starting tomorrow. And on Thursday, Career Pathways for Women of Color. We'll have another edition. The presenter is Starla Lewis, and she will present on mindfulness and also obstacles that are facing women of color. That will be, and also MS 162, 2:30 to 3.
ASG is having an open house on October 18th. That's a Wednesday from 1 to 3 p.m.
Where are they having it?
And M200.
Oh, one announcement too, October 20th, we will have a groundbreaking for affordable housing project down there at 16th and C Street. Diego will be one of the speakers, representing the student voice. So we'll have some of our elected officials, district VIPs will be present there. So that'll be 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. on October 20th.
Busy week. Don't forget the great shakeout.
10/19.
At the board meeting.
We'll get a little bit of everything. And then remember, we're halfway through the semester. So thank you, everyone. Meeting is adjourned. Enjoy your day and we'll see you at Hacienda Las Puertas if you can join us.
And, no.
1 hour.